Okay, do it now. So, we now have the ubiquitous black box. We've taken our media, we've done our media hacking, and we now have something different. There we go. Okay, congratulations. Now, you might have something absolutely, utterly brilliant. You might have 5 hours of the greatest hits of the Animaniacs. If you like it, you keep it like a good hack. If you don't like it, you take it back, you clear, you shuffle, you roll back to change it. Guys, that's media hacking. That's what we're going to be talking about in this section. Thank you very much. See you soon. I can guarantee you that one of those 5 people is thinking, oh, my porn was on that thing. He's thinking now, it's got to be one of those other 4 that likes the dog. Okay. And everybody else is thinking, oh, I should have volunteered, that would have been fun. Okay, so who we got up here? We've got Camellia, distribution mechanism from Michael Sparks, who we're going to be hearing about later, at the top of the chain. Picking it up, Mike Ryan is going to be talking about Myth TV, what you can actually do when you've received this media. iTunes from Paul is talking about managing the media and rolling back things like shuffles. But to open us up, Matt Westcott, who last year managed to get a streaming ZX Spectrum. Matt is going to be talking about taking his iPod MP3 player and putting Linux onto it so it can play MP3s. Matt.
Right, yes, the iPod, it's clear that from the start it was always designed as a closed platform, an appliance dedicated for doing one job and doing it very well, it has to be said. And right down to the physical appearance of it and the way how unusually for a consumer device like this, no visible at all, so it does lend to this air of don't tinker with this. So nature being what it is, it didn't take very long before people started attacking it with pliers and dremels and found out that what's inside there is actually some pretty standard mainstream hardware. Got an ARM processor, 32 meg RAM, and most obviously a whopping great card disk. And this happens to be just the nice sort of hardware for running Linux on with a bit of effort. There's a special branch of Linux called UC Linux, which is designed for processors like the ARM without a proper memory management unit. And so back in 2002, a gentleman named Bernard Leach set about reverse engineering the iPod firmware and with the intention of running Linux on it. And I believe Bernard Leach is around here with us today. Somewhere? Yes, so this man I have to thank for all of this, and I'll certainly be buying it again later. So, one thing I should mention is that throughout all the development of this, Bernard never actually had to open up an iPod, because despite what I say about it being a closed platform, the software is actually reasonably easy to get at just through the FireWire USB port. The iPod software itself is actually sort of in 2 bits. There's a fairly minimal bootstrap loader on flash memory, but the bulk of the software is sort of on the disk, on the partition of its own, and that's the bit that iPod Linux touches. So if I using on Linux proper into this graphical user interface, which I'll come on to in a second. So yes, I should back. That's all right. So it's not entirely clear what Apple make of all of this. We can only assume that they are aware of the project, and judging from the lack of lawyers knocking down people's doors, they probably don't mind too much. But having said that, it does seem like whenever there's a new release of the iPod out, then the Apple's engineers seem to delight in throwing these curveballs to keep the developers on their toes. And with one of the major ones came with the introduction of the fourth generation iPods, the one with the click wheel. And in this situation, it turned out that the firmware was actually encrypted on the disk, So it was down to a very resourceful guy named Neil Schneider, who, armed with a bit of code for making the internal piezo speaker of the iPod squeak a bit, actually got it to tap out a memory dump of the iPod in binary. Yeah. Right, so this is a picture of his recording studio, and microphone there. The website does have some fascinating account of the successes and failures of this particular enterprise, and how on the first attempt it actually took so long that the battery ran out before it could finish. So eventually they did get it all working and managed to extract the firmware, and developers eventually got figured out how the hardware was addressed, first the LCD and the keypad, then after a very long wait we got audio support, which is fairly essential. So the end result of all this is a Linux platform that not only is it all cool and geeky, but it's also vaguely pleasant to write to user land programs on. Because of the sort of weirdness with the memory management, you can't actually have shared libraries so easily on this. So this means that the vast majority of the development has been based around this huge monolithic application with everything but the kitchen sink thrown in, which is aptly called Podzilla. And so you can see it's in action here. It's loosely based as around a clone of the...
Does it have backlight support?
It does, yes. Well remembered. Nero's missing something. So it's a sort of clone of the iPod firmware with a few additions thrown in. And ranging from the useful to the downright absurd. One of the more useful things that's in the works is of voice audio support, which people feel was lacking from the original. And one addition, which is my contribution, which will be kind of no surprise for people who watched the talk last time, is a Spectrum emulator. So, I do realise that after my last talk I was accused of wasting all my time on pointless esoterica, so I'll swiftly move on to something that's a bit more practical, and this is something that it's fair to say redeems the whole iPod Linux project from being just a neat hack, and this is a spoken interface. It's and there's been a lot of very positive feedback from blind people who are able to use an iPod for the first time thanks to this.
Do you want to hold the mic for you?
Yes, please.
Hold it on the table, and then I can...
So, have you got audio feed somewhere? Where did they...
Yep.
That's
You've got the mic as well, you.
Cross that.
Problem with handheld equipment. Hang on.
it takes a couple of seconds to get the spoken interface on.
Can you drop those lines?
There you go. It's intentionally designed for blind people. Maybe it's not too bad if we don't have the video here. So
that time settings
He's tilted up.
playlist albums 200K American wrong playing mode and go 1966 in Monty but we was lying.
yeah, so this is where you get on by embarrassing taste in music names to the world. So
Albums music
finally
with popular
the We'll just go back to the main firmware to show something else that's been very popular, which is a video playback, and it seems to have crashed, so several very experimental lists. Yeah, so ever since the iPod Photo came out, there's been a lot of speculation that the next big thing for Apple would be video support, so it's nice to sort of head them off on that particular pass. So, just a second there. And at the moment, it's only it's no sound at the moment. They're working on that, and the only format it supports is uncompressed AVI, and so that's hard disk space isn't a problem. So there we go. And it does look a lot better on the iPod Photo, but hopefully it should give you a taster of what's possible and what might be to come. So if the viewers want to give this a go yourself, the website is www.ipodlinux.org. It's a very friendly forum. If you have any problems with it. So I think if you're the sort of person to come to an event like this, you probably have no trouble getting it to work. And it works on all models of iPod released to date, with the obvious exception of the Shuffle. Varying,
we know how to hack that now.
Oh yeah, but it's in varying states of support, but it's all working reasonably well on all of them. So if you're planning to hacking and tinkering with it, then why not check it out?